Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Journalist. Sometimes we drink coffee, like me, when it's a late afternoon in San Francisco, because you got to just get it while you can. When you land from a plane, Aaron, this is what happens. We're making it work. We're making it work. I'm Beck Bamberger, and we do this show so that we understand further and just deeper about what it's like to be a venture-backed startup and a venture-backed founder specifically, and why people do this job, because it's not for the faint at heart, but yeah, you can't do anything else is kind of
Yeah,
the overall, exactly, is the overall thing. So with us today, agreeing already with us, is Aaron Sekhri. He's the founder and CEO of Le Walk, a consumer product in the travel space. Speaks dear to my heart, Aaron, because I had a tour guiding company long ago in the restaurant space. I love travel. I've been to 80 plus countries. So let's go. Welcome and thank you for being here.
amazing. I wish we had been around for the 80 plus countries, but hopefully we're here for the next 80.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Because guides
I'm
make it or break it in travel. But anyway, let's talk. Let's just go with Le
Yeah,
Walk. What are we doing here with it?
absolutely. So Lawak is a tour guide in your headphones. So the way
Yes.
it works is you put your AirPods on, you choose your experience, and you are guided around as if there's someone with you.
Mm,
It uses your location in an incredibly precise way, sort of corner by corner, so you can put your phone away. We
mm-hmm.
always like to say, look up. I think every consumer experience you have is
Yes.
sort of looking down.
Mm-hmm.
It's forcing you to sort of crane your neck and stop engaging with the world. And we are
Yeah.
using
That's
our
not for me.
technology to help you engage with the world in a much better way.
Mm-hmm. What spurred you to do this?
I We are building this product for ourselves.
Got
We
it.
have always loved the idea. We've always felt like we were missing context when we were traveling. You
Hmm.
could be in front of Notre Dame, you see a million
Yeah.
people in front of you. Of course, it's beautiful, but I think about context as this like incredibly like beautiful and rich thing.
Mm-hmm.
Context is all the things that you can't see, right? All the decisions that
Hmm.
were made, the lives that were lived, the conflicts that were had, and
Yeah.
all of them
Hmm.
culminate in the thing you're seeing, but you
Very
have
true.
access to none of it, right? And I think a good guide does, but I think that the form factor of a guide, depending on who you are, may not be super appealing. I think for some people it's an amazing product, but for some people, the fact of being in a group, the fact of not
Oh
owning
my
your
God,
schedule.
Aaron, I cannot even. Yes, this
Yeah,
speaks to me as the consumer. And I know you were at TikTok, you were at Uber, so you've been dealing with
yeah,
consumers for a very long time.
yeah,
But the drag of being on a tour
yeah,
with a bunch of people, it's just like, oh, and then you're like, I don't want to hear 15 minutes about that building. I want to go over here. So this is another reason I
100%.
assume people like this because you have the flexibility.
Exactly. So people love to join in the middle, right? People
Yeah.
love to engage with it how they, how fits into their travel. If they have 30 minutes between their meal and their last destination, can they sneak something in where they get to engage with their surroundings a little bit better? I think the cool part is everyone wants that context, right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be in the place if they didn't want to know something
Yeah.
about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we think that a lot of the ways of getting it aren't ideal for all customers, right? Our average download age is 22.
Oh.
These are people, yeah, so it's a super young cohort, in our sort of 130,000 plus downloads. We've really seen like this hunger coming from a generation that wants the information, but that would never dream of doing a tour, for
Oh
example,
yeah, no,
right?
yeah, no, no. This
Yeah,
sounds quite parallel to the art walk tours that you see. Like you go into a museum and you could be like, all right, I'm in the Natural History Museum in New York. I was just
yeah,
there. And oh my God, I mean, you can be lost in there for hours and hours, but then you can
yeah,
kind of do your own self-guided tour, audio
right.
tour, etc. So is that a parallel to this, would you say? But
It's
this
a
is
parallel.
GPS that's much larger.
Exactly. So the GPS part is the outside part,
Yeah.
but I think the biggest differentiator we've realized is important is that the content really matters, right?
Hmm.
We
So
make
we were talking
sure,
a little bit about
yeah,
that before we
yeah,
got on here about like the best guide and like how that illuminates so much for you. So tell us more.
totally. 100%. When you're in the experience you described, you're getting a
Mhm.
lot of facts, right? We, because of some of the technology that we use, and we'll sort of jump into it, are very, very opinionated about what makes like a great experience. Like, what is a
Mhm.
99th percentile experience?
Mhm.
We, when we were figuring this out, went on 30, 40 tours of the Louvre, right? I
Oh,
know I've maybe scoped that place out just as much as those
yeah.
fellas that just did the heist.
Listen.
You know,
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah.
um,
It's a whole other story. They were arrested, as the latest information, as far as I understand.
Exactly.
Okay.
But we basically got to see what the difference is between someone who's just trying to explain it to you and someone who's trying to leave you with a lasting kind of impression and memory of that place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we take a lot of that human craft, and I'll talk about sort of how we do the production, but we take the very best guides in the world, we digitize them, and then do a lot of work with AI to both edit and then produce these sorts of experiences. So there's
Hmm.
a lot of very big sort of advantages of that. But
Hmm.
number one is that we can craft this perfect experience and sort of refine it. And number two, we can make it flexible and adaptable to when the consumer is actually there
Hmm.
and put it in different languages. And in the future,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
personalize it to whoever is there, including all the way from, you know, explaining this to a kid to explaining this to an
Yes.
art history PhD, right?
Oh, so I can imagine you then select, like, the ultimate of this is you select
Yeah.
the type of flavor. You're like, oh, I'm in San Francisco right now. I want an architectural tour. I have a PhD in architecture from 10 years ago. Like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
advanced versus
Right.
my 7-year-old. You know, we just need something in the car when we're driving around, etc.
Totally.
Yeah.
Or, I think what we're really excited about is what if you're hearing a sort of similar experience, but it's customized for you.
Mm.
When the 7-year-old is hearing
Yeah.
something that they can really
Yeah. Yeah.
engage with and understand, and you're looking at the same painting, you're talking about it in a similar way, but you have the
Yeah.
style, the guide be someone different for those individual personas, like incredible personalization while still getting this shared experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally get it. So one thing VCs will say, and I'm sure you've
Yeah.
heard it, Aaron, it's just like, oh, well,
Yeah.
the consumer is so fickle. You know, the
Yeah.
consumer is Did you hear that in your fundraising journey? / what's your response back?
I think that, what we heard was consumers really tough, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
people were just nervous about that, right?
You know,
I
and then
think
I'm
for
like, guess what else is tough? Enterprise. Like, what do you want? What do you want? You want to not
uh,
sell anything? Then that's not tough. Okay.
why do
I
tough
always think
things
this
to
is
start, right?
exactly, exactly. I'm always like, okay,
I
yeah, go
I
ahead.
I think it's never been easier to validate an idea in as much as it's never been easier to make a TikTok or a
Exactly.
bunch of reels to see, hey, does this have legs? Is there an organic kind of community behind it? I
Hmm.
think we were lucky to meet people where, just like what you said earlier, enough people were like, I've always wished this was possible.
Hmm.
Why has isn't this every single place I go? Well, it's
Hmm.
because audio production costs too much money.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
create really good tours is tough, and the
Yeah.
world keeps changing, so updating is tough. Well, that's the benefit of
That was one of the
audio
questions I
AI
was going to say.
production.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right,
Hmm.
exactly. So because of that, people kind of saw this idea. Actually, I think in our scenario, a lot of people were like, I've always wanted this, but how will you build it in a way that's like appealing? But I
Yeah.
think a lot of
Mhm.
people felt that need because everyone travels, everyone sees stuff, but everyone has this kind of like missing gap sometimes when they're in the Coliseum, they're looking down, they're like, what am I trying to see?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bunch of rotten. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So, how did your experience,
yeah.
specifically at TikTok, help you build Lay Walk?
100%. So there's a bunch of different ways. Number one, TikTok is, I think, one of the most impressive product companies in the world, right?
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I I think iron sharpens iron, and it was an incredible opportunity to just like learn with
Hmm.
very smart people.
Hmm.
Number
Hmm.
two, it's incredibly ambitious, and I think that that rubs off on anyone who's there.
Yeah.
Also, honestly, by being there, I kind of understood content in I think a deeper way than I'd expected to. We have grown 100% from content. We have
Oh.
accounts that basically have cumulative 200 sort of 200K plus followers, in the hundreds of millions of cumulative views, right? We've created this content engine to grow, and
Hmm.
that was directly from understanding it. And then the
Yeah.
last thing, it's a little bit subversive, but we saw a lot of people get sucked in. The average stay time
Yeah.
on TikTok is well understood, and it's an
Yeah.
hour plus. I think it's 3x TikTok people who founded the company. We're
Mm.
just really excited to build something that was kind of the opposite, kind of looking up where
Yeah. Looking
TikTok
up
forced
instead
you to
of
look
down.
down.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's a good way. Ooh,
yeah,
instead of looking down, look up.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay. Aaron, I'm liking this. Again, travel speaking to my heart here. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing I've been exploring or about to be
Hmm.
exploring on this podcast specifically, Aaron, is
Yeah.
a hack. And like, what's
Hmm.
your hack? And what I mean by that is, what's something you solved recently and you're like, you know what? I did X, Y, and Z to accomplish
Yeah.
X. Is there a playbook? Is there something there here that you would like to share? It could be more of like from a people perspective or more of a product perspective or whatever. But I think these are the nuggets that will be compelling to maybe some folks.
I think honestly, I'll go back to the last thing is content driven growth. I think that
Okay,
not
give us
enough
a little
people
playbook.
do it.
Yeah, give us a little
100%.
playbook.
This is my favorite thing to talk about.
Let's do it.
Number one, people have a very strong sense of brand and feel like when they put content out in the world, it has to hew to a particular like approach of it. I
Yeah.
would argue you have to start first at what is good content and work backwards.
Hmm.
Number two, I think you need to have people who do this on your behalf. I think unless you are one of those incredible sort of
Founder
multi-talented
people. Yeah,
founders,
yeah,
yeah, there's some people who are just good at it, but most people are not. That's why it's like a,
burden.
99-1 sort of like, distribution or whatever in terms of
Mm-hmm.
content
Mm-hmm.
creation. I
Mm-hmm.
think because of that,
So
like
have other people
we
do it for you.
realize
Yeah. Okay.
other other
Yeah.
people, but doesn't need to be super high following. I think the trap people get in is, oh, they have 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. No, I'm talking about people, you have 10,000
Yeah.
followers, you've demonstrated an ability, but now you're looking for ways of monetizing which aren't going to be sponsored content. People actually like these sorts of gigs of saying, hey, make 50 videos for us over the month
Yeah.
and get bonuses if they
Ah.
perform.
So real quick, Aaron. So you're
Yeah.
saying not have your like internal comms person write up content for you. You're saying externally influencers with very low traction, perhaps, but niche focuses. Give them
Yeah.
the task. Say like, yeah, do 50 videos for me. Let's see what works.
And on your owned and operated account. So the last hack, the
Yes.
biggest one
Okay.
is
Give us a last hack.
don't ever approve anything. Like make sure they have basic guidelines and make sure that they have access to your account and you have some trust. And from there, we have never approved a single piece of content. We talk about the idea generally, but the thing is, if they're the creator and you're not potentially,
Oh.
they're always going to know how to get content that goes viral better than you. So of course you can give your
Well,
feedback as a consumer,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
never before it's posted.
Oh, this is like media. Like you're not looking at the
Yeah.
article before it's posted. Like that's a ridiculous
100%.
ask.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait a second. I want to make sure I understand this.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
were saying, okay, hey, influencer person with 8,000
Yeah.
followers. Okay, we're
Yeah.
launching in Boston, so I want to have,
Yeah.
I want, and I am in Boston content. I want you to be talking about it. They're posting on their own account. They're
They're
posting
posting
on
on ours.
yours.
They're posting on ours. Yeah. Yeah. With no,
This seems shocking. I'm sure to some people here.
yeah.
Okay, so you're like, hey, here's our login. Go in there,
Yeah.
post it.
Every one of
Holy
our
cow.
creators has access to everything. Yeah.
Holy, oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a leap of faith if I
Yeah.
ever heard one.
But honestly, the incentives are
But like
super
what
aligned because
exactly?
we're
Yeah,
all
what
public. And if you
yeah.
were to, do
Yeah, do
something,
something
like the incentives are
stupid. Yeah,
such that, yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So then you go ahead and say to these 12 people or something, let's say, okay, great. Here's our information. Here's our login. I don't need to look at your stuff. Here's some guidelines. But yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
post. Jim's gonna post at 3 p.m. this day. Sally's
Totally.
gonna do that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for that hack. See, this is why
Yes.
I'm gonna incorporate this question into the sessions here. Okay,
Yeah.
but let's go back to number one. You were
Sure.
saying where starting with good. So what do let's elaborate a little bit more on that because
A
yes, people get
lot.
obsessed with like, well, I need to have this thing come out exactly this way, but it's like, yeah, ultimately it's not good. No one wants to read that.
And it 1 and 3 are kind of almost the same
Yeah,
thing, where it's
yeah,
basically what is good content? Good content is gonna be different from brand aligned content.
that's true.
So 30 to 50% of our videos don't mention the app, don't mention the product. They are, for our company, they're Paris itinerary videos or carousels, where it's,
Yeah,
"Hey, you're coming to Paris in November. What do you do in Paris in November?"
yeah.
And it has nothing to do with
Inform.
us,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but it'll get 150,000, 200,000 views or whatever, and
Hmm.
that's really powerful because it's also easy to create and legitimately useful. When I think of content, I think it has to be useful, and entertainment is utility as well.
It
Like
is.
it
It is
has to
utility. Yeah. Give me a
give value to
smile. Give me a
someone.
laugh. Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
If it made you feel anything, like that's good content, right? And I think that we have pushed the boundary on just like we've realized that like dispersion and volume is actually the trick here, as opposed to some super coherent brand. Because and we live in an era where there's more companies than you could possibly imagine. There's more
Of course.
competition for attention.
Yeah.
I don't think brand sticks with people in a very big way. I think they just see atomic units of your kind
Hmm.
of vision, ethos, whatever, and say, hey, this resonates with me. They're going to be glomming onto it in a way.
Hmm. I like this hack, Aaron. Thank you. Hmm.
Yeah.
So for you, back in
Yeah.
you were in your TikTok days, let's say, and maybe it wasn't there before. You alluded to it earlier, where you're like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is the thing we always wish we had." Was there an
Yeah.
aha moment though, where you're like, "Okay, now we're going to do this for sure," or just when did you take the leap?
I mean, well, the funny thing is, it's been in my head. I'm born and raised in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
and I never thought I'd go to the States for school. I always thought I'd go to the UK because all the people I knew sort of went
Yes.
there. It was a bit of a leap of faith, and
Yeah.
I went to the UK to interview at some colleges, and after some of them, one person was interviewing for a arts program within the
Yeah.
same college I was applying for was in London, and I knew nothing about art, and they walked me around.
Ah.
Um,
Mhm.
and then
You're
they
like,
were
"Oh,
explaining things, and it was a completely different relationship. But the funny thing is that the aha thing came to me where years later, where I was in Detroit with Palantir, and I had an
uh-huh.
off day, and I was staying the weekend just because we had, very important meetings on Monday, so we're just grinding away all weekend. I realized that there was a beautiful art museum in Detroit because there was a lot
Hmm.
of just rich people in the 50s and 60s
That's right.
who
Yes.
were benefactors, and I went in, and there were two plaques on every painting. One was the one for adults, and one was the one for children. And what I found myself gravitating to was the one
The
for
kids.
children because I
Yeah.
knew nothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You
And
basic
so
art and truth.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, like, it is such a powerful thing to give people that context in a way that they actually understand, because so many people dismiss what they're seeing and the value of what they're seeing until it is explained to them. And
Hmm.
then when it's explained to them, it's very powerful and has the impact that was desired, right? So those two germs of just sort of like just seeing people at art museums, just like look and be like, oh, my
Yeah.
kid could do that. Well, no, and there's a
Mm,
reason
yeah.
why, and it's
Yeah.
awesome, and I want to give
Yeah.
you that reason. And I want to learn
Well,
that reason myself.
also, I mean, whoever is writing those art plaques, good God, cheers to them.
Yeah.
They will make
Yeah.
like two brushes of lines on a canvas. Be like, oh, and let's add the 57 adjectives that are
Yeah.
explaining the, and then you're like, I mean, as a comms person, I'm like, this is storytelling at its finest, at its pinnacle. Also, some of it's
Yeah.
total BS, but damn, is someone working real hard to like
Well, but the thing, yeah, their
elevate that
audience
sometimes.
is their
So
colleagues and,
exactly,
other art history people
exactly.
as
So
opposed to
I'm
like,
like, what are we doing with the
yeah,
two stripes on the wall? Okay,
exactly.
yeah, all right.
Exactly.
Pile of rocks on the floor. Okay, yeah, hmm. Yes. Oh, well, that makes sense, Aaron. Well, I'm glad you're doing
Yeah.
this. This is good. Okay, another question I have, which I'm
Yeah.
like incorporating more and more into these as we kind of wrap up ish soonish, is who are you becoming and why?
Ah,
This is my big existential question.
that is very, very interesting.
Mm,
I think,
I like a pause.
yeah,
Thoughtful.
no, I mean, I assume there is some editing magic that happens
We're
here.
not. Just let it go. Yeah.
I think being a founder is the is allowing me to have a much purer expression of my worldview and intent.
Mm,
And I think I'm becoming someone who is more aligned with the way I look at the world and the things I want to see in the world.
hmm.
I think that's been a very special experience because I worked for some very like interesting,
Yes, of
compelling like
course. And Uber and all the
companies,
names. Yes.
right? But
Those aren't
fundamentally, I
humorous. Yeah.
exactly right. So I think for me, I'm becoming someone who is driving towards outcomes I wanted to see sort of independently. And I don't think I've ever been able to actually do that because you've always been in the confines of a company, right? Like I want the
Mm,
world to be a place where people get to sort of explore more mindfully. I want to be in a world where people get to understand one another a little bit better. And of course, I don't think we're
mm,
going to I don't think we're going to be sort of transformed in that regard, but I do think we're going to make a dent. And I do think I'm getting to be the person who gets to make a dent, which for me is very powerful
mm,
and very aligned with, yeah, just what I want to see. It's a great
mm,
question. It's a fun
mm.
question.
It is. I'm going to do some. I've been telling the team eventual like qualitative research study on this one. I have hundreds and hundreds of founders who have answered
Of
this because
course, yeah.
I haven't seen this question posed or explored a lot. But that's a great, and maybe it's going to be well. We got to do the research. We'll see, Aaron. If like, is it a
Yeah.
typical type of question? But there is no greater joy for a lot of people, and I include myself in this, of like having something you explicitly are building with others you
Right.
love, with others
Yeah.
you love and cherish, hopefully. And you're in charge of
Yeah,
hiring
I
these
would
people, so
absolutely do. Yeah.
you should probably be working that. And it being important and what you want in the world.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's just end it there then, Aaron. My God. And I can't. Well, actually, where are the next cities that you're launching this in?
No,
Because
absolutely.
I got to put them
So
on my
right
list. Go
now,
ahead.
if you're in Paris, Rome, Florence, Barcelona, or London, we have some
Okay.
great stuff.
Great. Okay.
And we are going to try to be in as many cities as possible in the next 6 months.
Okay.
I think we're
Let's
going to
go.
see some ones in the States. I think that's
Go.
where we've sort of
Good.
under tapped that. So
Good.
New York, Boston, DC, and
Of course.
SF by
The
end of
staples.
year.
Yes, the staples. The good
So
ones. Yeah.
that's going to be great. And then just a lot of other cities in Europe. And then beginning next year, we're going to be in Asia, which is extremely exciting.
Excellent. Oh,
Yeah.
well, Aaron, thank you for being on with us today. Everybody, this is Aaron Sekhri, founder and CEO of Le Walk. If you're going to Rome, Paris, etc., this is your tour guide right here in your earbuds. And I like, Aaron, of like, what would be a fun ad is like,
Love
instead of
it.
like the screen time, when you get like the screen time,
Yeah.
notice, and you're like 8 hours and 15 minutes a day, and you're like horrified
Totally.
at this. You could do
Yes.
something. It would be fun to see like I don't know how you say non-screen time, but something.
On-screen time.
Yeah, on-screen time.
Away from screen time. I love
7
that.
hours and 15 with Lou Walk. Hey, there you go.
Explorer time. I
Explore
actually love
time.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay. So there you could show
Yeah.
the ad with like screen time, 8 hours, 17 minutes. Explore time, 9
I'm
hours and
making
17
note.
minutes.
I'm
Put
going to
it, put
make
it
a
down,
note
Aaron.
as
Put
we
it down,
speak.
Aaron.
Yeah, before I forget this. That's too good.
There you go. I'm here all day, Aaron. Except when I'm on a
Amazing.
plane. Oh, thank you
Exactly.
so much. Talk to you soon.
Missing.